Namaste children. Once again I welcome you all to this virtual class. In today's virtual class we will be learning a chapter from class 8 science. Before going to learn this chapter we must have some basic knowledge what you have learnt in class 7. As in 7th class you must have studied that a chemical reaction always gives a new substance, and these new substances are totally different from the substance from which it has been formed. Now, if a substance does not give a new substance by any chemical reaction, the substance is known as an element. In our home, we use many articles such as charcoal, aluminum articles are there, copper wires we use in our home. All these are examples of element. Element is composed of small particles. These particles are called atoms. Atoms of a particular element cannot be affected by process such as heating, cooling or by passing electricity, which means the atoms remain same whether an element exists in liquid state, solid state or gaseous state. Take an example. Iron is an element which is made up of small particles of iron atoms. When the iron is heated, it melts and it becomes liquid. The atoms which are present in the solid state and the atoms which are there in the liquid state both are same. That means physical process such as heating, cooling or by passing electricity cannot affect the atoms. So atoms of a particular element remains same even if the state is changed. Have you ever wondered what are the various components present in the materials which we use in our daily life? We will try to find out the composition of materials that are present in the materials which we use in our daily activities. Dear children, although the universe has plenty of materials, but the elements present in the nature is only about 94. Can you imagine? How could it is possible with only 94 elements and plenty of particles in the universe? Very interesting, right? All these materials are made up of these elements. Though there are only few elements, but by combining all these elements, the materials are made. So in order to understand how the materials are made, the elements need to be classified. So it is a time to understand what are the categories of elements. Elements are categorized into two categories. One is metal and another one is non-metal. Among the available elements, most of the elements are metals and rest of the elements are non-metals and few of them are metalloids. By combining all these, that is metals, non-metals and metalloids, all the materials are made. So it is very important for us to learn about the materials, how these materials are composed of with metals, non-metals and metalloids. As all the materials available in the universe is made up of these elements. So knowing about these elements are very important. So now we will learn the chapter materials, metals and non-metals. Let us jump into the chapter. Dear children, you are very familiar with the articles such as the utensils which we use in our home, toys which you use to play and computer, school bags, pen, notebook, all these materials. These materials are made up of elements. Children, look at the surrounding. What do you see? Whatever the things you see around you are materials, and these materials are made up of the elements, that is metals, non-metals or metalloids. In order to differentiate between metals and non-metals, we use certain properties. With the help of these properties, we can easily differentiate between metals and non-metals. These properties are physical properties and chemical properties. So in today's class, we will be seeing physical properties, chemical properties and various uses of metals and non-metals. So dear children, firstly we will discuss about the physical properties of metals and non-metals. Before going to learn more about physical properties of metals and non-metals, we should know what is a physical property. What do you mean by physical property? Physical properties are those properties of metals and non-metals which we can see, which we can touch, which we can observe it. जैसे कि आप देख सकते हैं एक मटेरियल है, दिस मटेरियल को हम देख सकते हैं, छू सकते हैं, फील कर सकते हैं यानी महसूस कर सकते हैं, वैसे वाले प्रॉपर्टी को हम कहेंगे फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टी। तो चलिए हम देखते हैं मेटल्स के ऐसे कौन से फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टी है जो हमको मदद करेगा मेटल्स और नॉन मेटल्स को डिफरेंशिएट करने में। द फिजिकल प्रॉपर्टी विच वी विल लर्न टुडे आर malleability, ductility, lustrous property, sonorous property, hard and electrical conductivity of metals and non-metals. So firstly we will see about metals are solid in nature and very hard. Using this property, various articles you will find in your home. You can see the picture, some of the articles maybe you may be using it. So because of its hard nature, metals are used to make various parts of the engines, automobiles. In various fields, metals are used because of its hard nature. Children, look at the screen which shows the picture of the articles which we use in our day-to-day life. Axe, spade and many more articles. Similarly, you can find in the kitchen various utensils made of metals. So these articles are in the form of sheets. Thus, metals have a property that when they are beaten, it will be converted into sheets. So the property of metals which can be beaten into thin sheets is known as malleability, and the metals which undergo this malleability property is known as malleable. When you hit non-metals such as sulfur, coal, charcoal, they will not be converted into thin sheets. जब non-metals को हम hit करते हैं तो वो thin sheet में change नहीं होता है, rather they will be converted into powders. So we can say that metals are malleable whereas non-metals are brittle. Now we will move on to the next property which will help us to differentiate between metals and non-metals is ductility. Children, you are familiar with the wires which are there in the electrical poles and the electrical appliances in your home. All these wires are made of metals. So metals can be drawn into fine wires. This property is known as ductility. So ductility is a property of metal by which a metal can be drawn into thin wires. So you can look at the screen which shows the property of ductility. Now we will see the third property, that is lustrous. Lustrous का मतलब होता है शाइन करना यानी चमकीला होना. Metals have the property of shiny appearance. तो आपके जो ornaments जितने भी घर का है, और you can look at the screen which shows the various pictures of metals which shows the property of shiny appearance. So metals tend to shine when light is focused on it. Look at this material. क्या ये चमकता है? Yes, this material is made of aluminum. Aluminum is a metal which shows the property of shiny appearance. Further, you can see the ornaments in your home which are made of metals. Can you see which metal it is made of? It is made up of gold, silver, platinum. All these are metals. Why these ornaments are made of metals? Because these metals are shiny appearance. So because of lustrous property, these materials are, particularly ornaments, are made of metals. We cannot use non-metals for making ornaments because non-metals are dull in appearance. So the property of metal which shows the shiny appearance is known as lustrous, whereas non-metals do not show this property. Generally, non-metals are dull in appearance, whereas metals are shiny appearance. So based on this shiny or dull appearance, we can easily differentiate between metals and non-metals. Now we move on to the next property, that is sonorous. Children, when you enter into the school, you must have heard a ringing sound of your school bell. What is that bell is made of? Is it made of wood? Is it made of some non-metals? No, it is made of metals. Why? Because metals have the property of producing sound, that is ringing sound. In the kitchen, you must have heard the utensils are falling down and produces noise, a sound, a ringing sound. So metals have the property of producing sound. This property is known as sonorous, whereas non-metals do not have this property. Now we move on to the next property, that is metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. As the metals are good conductors of heat, using this property, cooking utensils are made of metals. Similarly, metals are good conductors of electricity, so the electrical wires which we use are made of metals. Have you ever heard the electrical wires are made of coal? No. Why? Because coal is a non-metal and they do not conduct electricity. Children, so far we have learned various physical properties of metals and non-metals. क्या हम इस physical property के मदद से differentiate कर सकते हैं metals and non-metals को? Not all the time, because metals and non-metals have some exceptions in physical properties. For example, as we have seen that all the metals are solid and hard, whereas mercury is a metal but it exists in liquid state at room temperature. So this is an exception. Similarly, all the metals are found to be hard in nature, but sodium and potassium are the metals, they are so soft that it can be cut with a knife. So this is also another exception. All the non-metals are poor conductor of electricity. That's what we have seen earlier. But graphite is a non-metal, an allotropic form of carbon which is a non-metal, but they are good conductor of heat and electricity. So here also we have got another exception. We have seen that non-metals are soft in nature, whereas diamond is a non-metal and it is the only naturally occurring hardest non-metal. So these are the exceptions. So as we have these many exceptions, sometimes we could not differentiate between metals and non-metals by using physical properties alone. In order to differentiate metals and non-metals clearly, exactly, we have to see one more property, that is called chemical property. Now we will see what are the various chemical properties of metals and non-metals which will help us to differentiate between metals and non-metals. Now the first chemical property of metals and non-metals is reaction of metals and non-metals with oxygen. You are familiar with rusting of iron, right? Similarly, in the previous class, you must have done an activity in which magnesium ribbon was burnt and we got an ash. Both these changes are taking place with the help of oxygen. That means when the metals are exposed to air, the metals are very much reactive towards oxygen. The metals react with oxygen and metal oxides are formed. So the activity which you had performed in 7th standard and you got an ash, what is that ash? That ash is magnesium oxide. When these oxides are dissolved in water, we can find the chemical nature of that ash as basic, as we know that how to identify the acid and base. The rust what you see on the iron objects and the ash what you had obtained in the 7th standard experiment, what are these? Both of these are the oxides of that particular metal. So metals react with oxygen and we get metal oxide. When this metal oxide is tested, we can find that these metal oxides are basic in nature, as it turns red litmus blue. As we know that bases turn red litmus blue and acid turn blue litmus red. Similarly, when non-metals are exposed to air, that means when non-metals react with oxygen, we get non-metallic oxide, and this non-metallic oxide is acidic in nature. For example, carbon is a non-metal. When carbon reacts with oxygen, we will get carbon dioxide. As metals react with oxygen gives metallic oxide and it behaves as a base. Similarly, non-metals also react with oxygen. When non-metals react with oxygen, we get non-metallic oxide. Take an example. Carbon is a non-metal. When carbon reacts with oxygen, we get carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide is acidic in nature. In order to find its acidic nature, what we have to do is pass this carbon dioxide in water. When carbon dioxide is passed in water, we get an acid. The name of the acid is carbonic acid. Where will you find this carbonic acid? When you open the soft drink like Coca-Cola, Sprite, 7up, you get a fizz sound, a brisk effervescence you will see. It is the evolution of carbon dioxide gas. When it is packed, it will be in the form of acid known as carbonic acid. Similarly, sulfur, when reacts with oxygen, we get sulfur dioxide, which on further reacts with water, we get sulfurous acid. As you can see that in the pollution, industries release carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide. When these carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide gases are released into the atmosphere during rain, the rainwater reacts with carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide, thereby making an acid, which when falls onto the ground as acid rain. So this is the reason why pollution of sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide has to be reduced. Now we move on to the next property, that is the reaction with water. Metals react with water to give hydrogen gas. Here an interesting thing to note is all the metals do not react with water at same rate. Metals such as sodium and potassium are very reactive towards water. The reaction between sodium or potassium with water is so violent that it explodes like anything. You can see at the screen which shows a video in which a small piece of sodium metal is dropped into the water can. As the reaction goes, it explodes like anything and the hard plastic container blasts and breaks. So how powerful the reaction is. So dear children, always be careful with these metals such as sodium and potassium, as it is very hazardous to use. So proper care must be taken when you go to higher classes and handle sodium and potassium elements. Therefore, metals such as sodium and potassium are stored in kerosene. This is because if the metals are kept outside or exposed to the open environment, there are chances that the moisture present in the atmosphere may get in contact with these metals and chemical reaction may cause explosion. In order to avoid such an havoc, we generally store sodium and potassium in kerosene. Non-metals do not react with water. Non-metals are reactive towards oxygen. Phosphorus is a non-metal which shows its high reactivity towards oxygen. In order to avoid phosphorus metal to contact with oxygen, they are generally dissolved in water. They are kept in water. The next property which we will be seeing is the reaction of metals with acids. When metals react with acid, then we get a salt and hydrogen gas is evolved. Take an example, जब हम जिंक मेटल को हाइड्रोक्लोरिक एसिड के साथ में अगर हम रिएक्शन करवाते हैं तो उस समय हाइड्रोजन गैस इवॉल्व होता है और एक सॉल्ट वहां पर प्रोड्यूस होगा. तो वी कैन से दैट मेटल्स when react with acid we get salt and hydrogen gas is evolved. इस केमिकल रिएक्शन में से जो गैस प्रोड्यूस होता है वो हाइड्रोजन गैस है, ये कंफर्म करने के लिए देयर इज अ टेस्ट. वो कैसे करेंगे? केमिकल रिएक्शन जब होगा वहां से गैस निकलता होगा, वहां पर if we bring a burning matchstick near the test tube where the reaction is taking place, then the matchstick burns with a pop sound. This pop sound indicates that hydrogen gas is evolved during the chemical reaction. Non-metals do not react with acids, but non-metals react with the bases. When non-metals react with the bases, the reaction is little complicated. The reaction between the bases and the non-metals are bit complex. So you will study such type of reactions in higher classes. Now we will see the next property, that is reactivity of metal. As you can see in the picture, the metals are arranged in decreasing order of their reactivity. That means all the metals are not having the same reactivity towards water, towards oxygen, towards acids, towards bases. So depending upon their reactivity, the metals are arranged in decreasing order. That means the metals which are highly reactive towards the environment is kept at the top, and the metals which are least reactive to environmental factors are kept at the bottom of the series. So this series will help us to know the reactivity of various elements. Now we will learn displacement reaction. In displacement reaction, what happens? One element, one metal displaces another metal from its salt solution. Take an example, copper sulfate. You can see the picture. Copper sulfate, the blue color solution in which iron is being added. When iron is added, after keeping it for some time, the color of the solution becomes light green, which shows that a chemical reaction has taken place in which the iron, which is more reactive in the activity series, displaces the less reactive copper metal from copper sulfate solution. As a result of this reaction, the copper settles down at the bottom, which you can see in the picture. So displacement reaction is a reaction in which one metal, that is highly reactive metal, can displace the less reactive metal from its salt solution. Such a type of reaction is known as displacement reaction.
Dear students, so far we have seen physical properties of metals and non-metals. In that, we have seen in the physical properties, metals are hard in nature, whereas non-metals are soft. And secondly, we have seen that metals are malleability, that is, when they are beaten, they will be converted into sheets, whereas non-metals are brittle. And thirdly, we have seen that they are ductile, that is the property of metal by which metals can be drawn into wires, whereas non-metals cannot be drawn into wires. In the next property, we have seen that metals are sonorous in nature, that means they produce ringing sound, whereas non-metals do not show this property. And moving forward, we have also seen that metals are lustrous. Lustrous means they are shiny appearance, whereas non-metals are not lustrous. And finally, we have seen in the physical property that metals are good conductors of heat and electricity, whereas non-metals are poor conductor of heat and electricity. And we have also seen that some exceptions. Metals are generally hard in nature, whereas sodium and potassium are the metals which are very soft. Similarly, metals are solid in nature, whereas mercury is a metal which exists in liquid state at room temperature. Iodine is a non-metal which shows shiny appearance. Non-metals are poor conductor of heat and electricity, whereas graphite, an allotrope of carbon, which is a good conductor of heat and electricity. So these are the physical properties we have seen. And in chemical properties we have seen that the reaction with oxygen. When metals react with oxygen, metal oxides were formed. Second chemical property what we have seen was reaction with water. When metals react with water, hydrogen gas is liberated. So how to test that also we have seen. Next, moving forward, we have seen that the reaction of metals and non-metals with acids and bases. We have seen the reactivity series in which metals were arranged in a decreasing order of reactivity, in which the more reactive element was kept at the top and the less reactive element was kept at the bottom. So this reactivity series will help us to determine the reactivity of elements. Similarly, we have seen that displacement reaction based on the reactivity series, in displacement reaction we have seen that highly reactive element can displace less reactive element from its salt solution. Now we will see various uses of metals and non-metals. On the basis of the physical and chemical properties, metals and non-metals are used in different fields, different ways it can be used. Some of the uses you are very much familiar. Now we will see some of the uses of metals. Metals are generally involved in making machinery articles, automobiles, aeroplanes, trains, etc. So in many more places metals are actively involved due to the physical properties what we have seen. You can list some other uses of metals which we use in our day-to-day life. Now we will see the uses of non-metals. The most important use of non-metal which we use in our day-to-day life is oxygen. While breathing we take in oxygen, which is a non-metal which plays a very important role in all life forms. Non-metals are used in making fertilizers. Nitrogen is one of the most important nutrients required for the plants for preparing protein. So for making fertilizers, nitrogen, a non-metal, is very much used. Apart from this, many other non-metals are used in making fertilizers. Third important use of non-metal is water purification. Water is purified by using a chemical called bleaching powder. So the chlorine is used for purifying water. Next, antiseptic property we will see. Iodine is a non-metal which has an antiseptic property. When you have any cut injury, when you go to hospital, medicine is applied on your wound, a blue color solution, tincture iodine. That tincture iodine has an antiseptic property which is applied on the wounds. Dear students, this chapter is very important, as when you go to 10th class, the updated version of this chapter you will see. So if the basic concepts like physical properties, chemical properties and uses of these metals, what we have discussed today, will help you a lot when you enter into 10th standard. So keep in mind that all the concepts what we have discussed, practice at home, go through your textbook which will help you to guide further.